It was raining hard on the island of Sodor, and the engines were keeping busy as usual. Sometimes, when it rained hard on the island, the rain would sometimes loosen the ground beneath the rails, and the engines would have to take care of the rails as the ground could damage the rails and cause an accident. There was a lot of goods traffic on Edward's branch line. No sooner had one train arrived at Brandon docks than another left for the main line. Everyone was working very hard indeed. Because of the increase in goods, Sir Topham Hatt had sent James to Brandon to collect a train for Arlesborough on Duck's branch line. James sulked as he chuffed down the line towards the docks. It was one thing for his paint to be ruined in the rain, but when it came to goods trains, James would never stop complaining. James pulled into the docks. He was eager to pull his train so that he could get it over with. "Hurry up, Cranky!" called James. "The sooner I get this train done, the sooner I can pull passengers."
"I'll take as long as I like,"
snapped Cranky. James grumbled dreadfully.
"What's the complaining for, James?" asked Boko. "Lighten up for once. There's nothing to complain about, really."
"That's easy for you to say, only because you don't have a shiny red coat of paint like I do." Boko said nothing as James waited impatiently for his train to get ready. James was soon making his way along the branch line. The rain was starting to pour down on his boiler, but James just kept going. He was too busy thinking of how to get out of pulling another goods train. He passed Lower Sudbury Station and approached the tunnel. It was dark and quiet, and even with his lamp turned on, James found it a bit hard to see in the dark. Then, there was trouble. James could see something blocking the tunnel, and his driver quickly reduced steam and braked hard. James stopped just in time. "Bust my buffers!" he cried. There in front of James was a landslide blocking the line. James's driver tried to back James out towards Lower Sudbury, but his brakes were jammed. James was stuck in the tunnel. James's fireman went back to Lower Sudbury to tell the station master what happened, and soon Edward arrived with workmen to inspect the damage and to place barriers around the tunnel to prevent engines from having an accident. "We'll start work on this tomorrow. It's going to be a sunny day tomorrow, and it would be a bit dangerous to start repairs in case another landslide happens in this weather." "What about me?" asked James. "I'm sorry, James, but it looks like you'll have to stay here tonight," said his driver, and he and the fireman left with Edward. James was all alone in the tunnel that night. His fire had gone out and he wasn't able to keep warm at all. His only company was an owl howling in the distance. Suddenly, James heard a whistle from behind. "Cinders and ashes!" he cried. He soon noticed that he was uncoupled from his goods train as it was starting to roll away from him. "It's a ghost engine! He's come to hunt me down!" cried James. Then, James heard a deeper whistle, and before he knew it, the engine was coupled up to James, and soon, James started to go deep into the tunnel in complete horror. "Don't take me away! Don't take me away!" he yelled. "Didn't you fast yourself? It's only us." It was Donald and Douglas. Donald had taken James's train away from him, and Douglas had pulled James out of the tunnel. James was quickly relieved, but he felt rather silly. "We came to take your train back to Brendam," said Donald. "And we came to take you to Brendam to sleep in the sheds with the rest of us," added Douglas. "We certainly took you by surprise." "Just promise me you won't tell the other engines," pleaded James. The twins promised, and they chuckled as they took James back to Brendam. The next day, James's brakes were fixed so that he could get back to work, and maintenance work began on the tunnel. There was only one track available for the engines to use during the repairs, and the traffic on the line only made things worse. But that's another story.